Hello everybody, Steve Politi, Mike Garafolo at Giant Stadium. It's Friday, and we're at the point now where all the story angles have been explored ad nauseum. Here are two things I've learned that is new, though. The first thing is that Judy Coughlin watched Men of Honor on television last night, and this one from John Carney, the kicker, you'd rather not play in the snow. That's my insights for today. What do you got?
I've only got one. Did you know the can opener was invented 48 years after the can? What did they do for 48 years?
That's impressive. You got anything football related?
I do.
Oh, you do?
We were in that locker room today, and I just sense that this team mentally is where they need to be. I think they're very confident. Antonio Pierce has got that giant chip on his shoulder, which I don't know how he'll be able to put his shoulder pads on, but he's certainly. The media was sitting right up here, and he was yelling at us because there weren't enough of us out here because it was, when we were inside, everybody was willing to come to practice, but it's cold out now. People didn't want to. I was here.
I was.
But
it's too cold.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But he was talking about you. But we were, I'm just sensing that swagger, and I'm not saying that has anything to do with tackling Brian Westbrook, but just I get that feel that this team, again, mentally prepared and confident right now.
Do you think there's last year they always had some sort of little motivating factor. So they would take some quote when someone would write them off or say something of another. Do they need to find a new source of motivation this time around, being the favorites?
You would think that they would let that go and all of a sudden, not worry about whatever, but they do. I mean, everybody does that. And it's funny because they're up here saying we're being portrayed as the underdogs and everybody's talking about how great the Eagles are. And then I read something down there from an Eagles player, I don't remember who it was, saying, oh, how great they're talking about the Giants and they're so great and all this stuff. And I'm thinking, you just hear whatever you want to hear.
Where do they get? At least someone's reading newspapers. Where do they get this?
Yeah, right, exactly. They're keeping the business afloat right now.
As we're standing here, the Giant Stadium crew is throwing the rock salt into the stand.
Key to the game.
Key to the game. Which is a sign of what's to come.
Yeah.
The weather forecasts are getting even colder. Does any of that matter? Does any of the play to favor for either team?
When the Giants or when the Cardinals beat the Falcons last week, I thought, well, bad weather will favor the Giants because the Cardinals come in and they're going to want to throw the ball and all this stuff. Then when I realized they were playing the Eagles after the Eagles beat the Vikings, I thought, well, bad weather, if that's going to favor anybody, it would favor the Eagles because the team that needs to throw the ball down the field is going to be the Giants. And I think they're going to try and do that. And it's interesting because I was looking back at the game the last time they played, and when the win was in their face, man, they really could not throw the ball at all. As soon as they got the win at their back, they take the shot downfield to Dominic Hickson. So if it's windy on Sunday, I think it could affect the Giants greatly.
All right, our technology's back. We're going to throw it down to Philadelphia, where apparently Jenny Vrentas and M.A. Mehta are standing by with information about John Runyan. Take it away, guys.
Thanks, guys. We're down here at the Eagles NovaCare Complex in Philadelphia, and before we begin, Jenny, I must say I think you're having a bad hair day.
At least I have hair.
Oh, good point, good point. A couple points of interest today from Andy Reid's press conference. We already know that the Eagles did not allow a sack to this Giants defensive line this season after allowing a miserable 12 sacks in that infamous game with Osi Umenyiora torching Sean Andrews, and Andy Reid talked about that this morning.
I think it's important that we're good this weekend before I say anything, and it's going to be a big challenge this weekend. Obviously, we had enough sacks for 5 years worth last year against them. So anything I say, I preface with that. So it's but the guys have worked very hard at their pass protection and just done a nice job up front. Juan Castillo's done a nice job with it.
Speaking of offensive line, the only player not to practice for the Eagles today was right tackle John Runyan, but it doesn't sound like they're going to have to worry about him not playing. He has a consecutive start streak of about 211. Asked also about going up against left defensive end Justin Tuck, he said, well, it's a lot harder to play hurt at his position than it is at mine.
Yeah.
You draw Justin Tuck on Sunday?
Yeah.
And he has a leg injury also. You guys might be doing a lot of leaning up against each other more so than pushing and shoving.
That's all right now. I think it's a little easier to play my position injured than it is to play his.
I don't think that Runyan is going to be a concern for the Eagles, but there is one guy in this game that has something to prove. I think we all know that's number 5, Donovan McNabb.
Yeah, and all week he's faced the questions about how the benching had affected him and has it led to this run, and he keeps saying, no, it's coincidental, But I mean, he certainly does have a lot to prove. The city talking to people out in the city this week. They're like, we've waited 10 years. We want a championship from this guy, and that's what he's got to deliver.
Good point, Jenny. Donovan McNabb, we know, has a tremendous work ethic, but not greater than the two guys working for the Star Ledger up in New Jersey, Steve Politi and Mike Garafolo, working so hard. I noticed in the last video they have some seedlings of hair along the side and the back. Obviously, there's nothing up top for those two guys at this point, but we want to give you a present to help you guys clean up before kickoff on Sunday. So here you go, a Bic razor, some shaving cream. Hopefully you guys can take care of yourselves before kickoff. And unfortunately, there's only one razor blade, but
sharing is caring, boys. Back to you in New Jersey.
New Jersey.
Well, thanks, Carrot Top. We really enjoy your prop. That's the best they can do down there is ball jokes. We're bringing it here in New Jersey because we're in New Jersey, Jenny. Steve Politi and Mike Garafolo signing off. Till tomorrow.